Welcome back into Delmarva Sports Insider. Before we continue our countdown, we thought we'd share something special from this past fall in September. Woodbridge legend Troy Haynes succumbed to cancer in the middle of the past football season, prompting an entire state to vow to fight like four. Champion, winner, warrior, fighter. You can't begin to describe the life of Troy Haynes without using those four words. The 19-year-old accomplished so much in such a relatively short period of time. We were first introduced to Troy as a wide-eyed sophomore in 2016, assigned to lead one of the most talented teams in the entire state. Not only did number 4 dispel the myth that underclassmen can't lead, he also broke through as one of the most important players on a team that finished 13-0 and won the first state title in school history. That wiry sophomore eventually grew into a sturdy senior, developing both mentally and physically. 4 became a role model and one of the unquestioned leaders of the Blue Raiders football program, always looking to set an example to those under him.
It's a lot of young guys coming up from the middle school, from a talented middle school team, and we just got to show them the way, build a platform for them so that hopefully they can do what we did.
During that senior campaign, number 4 did exactly what he said he'd do, leading Woodbridge to an 11-2 record and yet another state championship. In a game in which he played masterful under center, all he could think about is it being the final time with his guys.
I think most of what I miss about it is being able to play with all the seniors. We've been playing together since we were 6 and 7 years old at Mighty Mice and Pop Warner, so it kind of feels surreal for us to not be able to say that we're not playing with each other anymore. I mean, I'm not really getting into my head right now. It's kind of hard to think about.
Selfless. The humility that Troy showed the world was something that will always be remembered, even in the midst of his cancer diagnosis.
Just like having a competitive nature, I mean, I already seen a lot of people have been looking out for me, and I mean, it's just pushing me more, just for me to be able to beat this and be an inspiration to a lot of people.
That type of determination showed even more this past June, less than 6 weeks after learning about his stage 4 kidney cancer, stricken by weight loss and treatment. Instead of being pushed by a wheelchair, Troy insisted on walking to receive his high school diploma. Troy celebrated his 19th birthday on September 22nd and remained in great spirits even then. 1 week later, he was called to lead the ultimate huddle. So much can be learned from a young man whose time with us was cut so short here on earth, but you beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and in the manner in which you live. So whether it's on the playing field or in the game of life, there's no doubt that 4 is a champion once again. Definitely a touching piece from a touching time. One of the most emotional times that I've had here, one of the most emotional times that we had this fall. We're going to keep our countdown running. We're going to send it back over to the wall to Brandon.
Thanks, Trey, and a great job on that story honoring Troy Haynes, a tremendous young man that's gone far too soon. And I'm glad that we could incorporate that story into our show about the fall sports, because Troy has made such an incredible impact on sports all across Delaware. He was a great young man. A tough transition here back into our countdown, but what better way than with number 4 right here, Zach Covington from Delmar has done it all on the football field for the Wildcats. Covington was a true two-way player, making spectacular catches like this one on offense, bone-crushing tackles on defense. Zach made the second-team all-state list for both tight end and defensive end. And Covington made some big plays this fall, including in the game that decided the Henlopen Championship, Delmar's home game against the Woodbridge Blue Raiders, that the Wildcats won in overtime. Moving on to number 3 in the Henlopen North. I'm sure plenty of offenses are glad this guy is graduating. Darryl Williams, the anchor in the middle of that Smyrna Eagles defense, the Defensive Player of the Year in Delaware. The 6'1", 215-pound linebacker was the leader of a defensive unit that allowed just 12.5 points per game this season, and the Eagles made it all the way to the state semifinals. Debo will continue to play football at none other than the University of Delaware, joining other Smyrna greats like we mentioned, Will Knight, Nolan Henderson, Mekhi Jackson, and others. And this was a tough choice for number 1, but coming in as the second best fall athlete is Delmar's Josie Hollaman. Trey and I were going back and forth a little bit on this one, who should be number 1, number 2. But the freshman is getting national attention after leading her team with 18 goals and 16 assists as an 8th grader. She followed that up with 23 goals and 13 assists this season. We might be looking at the Elena Deladon of the field hockey field right here, as Hollaman was named the Division II Player of the Year, and she still has 3 more years left at Delmar. Can't wait to see what the future holds for this young star. It's time for our next blatant break, but when we return, we're talking about news while schools across the nation figure out graduation plans. One college is going virtual, how students are reacting.
Hi, my name is Covington. I go to Delmar High School, play tight end, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.